I'm Marcus. I'm going to give you a mining tutorial for Star Citizen 3.82, and we're going to do this on Yella, and we're going to do it in the multi-operator laser extractor, or the mole. Let's hop on in. I am in the flight deck of the mole, so this is going to be a little different. If you are using a prospector, the prospector, you just hit M to shift over to mining mode. With the mole, you're going to want a crew of probably 3 to 4 people. Let's head over and find some rocks. This is going to be just like any other vehicle in terms of a scanning suite. You're going to right click, hold pulse. You're going to get your boxes in the distance indicating that there is something there to investigate. Your left click will scan anything that is under the reticle and tell you what is going on with that object. These objects are rocks ahead. Let's head over to them. As pilot, I like to do the majority of the investigating. That way I am positioning the mole as quickly as possible over a rock of interest. I find often that if the turret operators are scanning at the same time as the flight deck, you'll get an overlap of information in the contents over on the right hand side. This can cause a little bit of confusion. You can also ask your operators to stop scanning so you can do that. So we found a small rock here. I'm going to look at the results of that. So, oh, it's not going to roll out for us. Very nice there. But 1887 is our mass on this rock. Over on the right side, we have our percentage of Laranite in it. Which is the 18.5 number. The 69.8 number is the ratio of usable material in the rock. So this is basically subtracting the inert from that. Let's see what the other rock is. This rock is pretty small, very high percentage, worth a lot of money. Let's see if there's anything else here. We have a very good rock. This is a Primo Rock right here. This is 7563 kilograms. I pretty much think the rocks kind of cap out around 8800 kilograms. Let me know if you guys have seen something bigger. But this is a very, very high ratio of Laranite. We're probably looking at about 50k that's sitting in this rock right here. So we got very lucky to find this for this demo. It's just a chance thing. So I am alone in the mole to do this demo. So I'm just going to position the mole using that square HUD, our navigational scanner below. I'm going to position the rock over it. I find this is typically the best place for everyone on the mole. I'm going to get out of the seat. And this is what you have to do solo in the mole. The ladder is something you have to be careful with right now. I don't know that it's so much bugged, it's just they haven't fine-tuned it. You can fall down the ladder hole, that's fine, you won't hurt yourself. Or you can go down nice and slow. But if you decide to grab the ladder on the way down, you will break both your legs and you'll die if you don't med pen instantly. We're gonna hold F, enter the turret seat. This is a fresh mole, so it hasn't been powered on yet. The same goes for the other turrets. You're gonna have to hold F and hit power on. Right now, this hasn't bugged out for us. Often what you'll see here is the flight instruments as if you're flying the ship. If that does happen, you're gonna tab to go to the scanning suite and then tab back and you're gonna get your interface. I'm gonna hover over the rock here, and it is giving us all the information about this rock. I'm going to show you what is going on with the HUD here. The mass 7563 kilograms is what this rock is weighing in at, 11.39%. So this is the same information we saw from the flight deck. Below that we have the cargo capacity. Again, it's a fresh ship, so it's reading 0. Our fracturing sensor and our overcharge sensor. I'll show you how those sensors work here. They are directly related to our rock energy level. So as we turn on the laser and then throttle up, we are going to see the rock energy level go up and hit the green area. Where that green area begins is where we want to keep the rock energy level. We don't want it in the middle. We definitely don't want it at the end. Why we want it right here is for lag purposes. So if there's a lag spike, we're hoping that you've already leveled off the power so that you're not adding more power or more energy than is needed, and it's just hovering right there. If you are in the middle of getting your energy up and you hit that lag spike just here and it keeps going, we're hoping it gives you enough time on the other side of the lag spike that you haven't hit the overcharge zone. If you do hit the overcharge zone, what you're going to see is that overcharge sensor go up. You never want to finish fracturing a rock when it is overcharged. You will lose the components of the rock typically, especially if it's just a small rock. You will also possibly do damage to the ship, and we don't know what's going to happen later on. That damage could be so great it puts a hole through the ship. It becomes a critical type of object and destroys the ship, or maybe the operator. The operator up front is behind glass, a little bit more protected. The operators on the side have no glass. They're just exposed to the elements. So possibly in the future, it could mean death. We're going to go from the top of the graph here. On the energy transfer graph, as we add energy to the rock, we're going to see some fluctuation here. This really isn't helpful for anything that I've learned, other than you can see energy going in and going out. The biggest benefit of watching this graph is for a lag spike. If you see a long flat line, you know you're in a lag spike. This does not mean shut off the laser. This means leave the laser on and throttle it down, because how these mining heads that we put on work is they debuff the rock. So what you'll see here under the graph is the instability, 3.5, and then below that the resistance of the rock. These orange numbers are the default values of the rock. The reason why these numbers are here is this is what our type of laser head is doing to the rock. This is the effect of the debuff that this laser applies, and these debuffs stack. So if you have another 2 operators, they will further debuff the rock. There's no diminishing returns on it, and how you see that affect the rock is it effectively has made this green area bigger, so you can get to the green area quicker and make it safer because you have a wider region to operate within. The dangerous side of it is if you have an operator that is taking it to the red zone and that's where the energy is, and then they shut off the laser, you're going to now be in overcharge because you've lost that safe region. So this is why you always leave your laser on. Even if there's a lag spike, you throttle down immediately, leave the laser on. So we're just leaving the rock on right now. You want to click once to turn it on. Do not click hold. What will happen if you click hold is whenever the action is done, say fracturing the rock or extracting the rock, it will turn on the laser again. And if you're extracting something, you might have started with extracting something that you wanted, but then maybe a piece of inert was behind it, and now you just picked up some inert before you were able to click off the extractor. So we're going to just throttle up the laser. We're using our middle mouse button. This is a massive rock, so it's 7563 kilograms. I'm going to just turn on the volume of our rock in here. Laser's pretty loud. We're going to take this all the way up to 100%. And we can see our heat building slowly. This rock, we're not going to have to do any little tricks on, it looks like. We can swirl the laser a bit, and sometimes that will speed up the fracturing process. We don't have quite the logic of what's happening there. I sort of look at this as a way of chasing the heat on the rock, is a phrase I've sort of coined out there. I'm just moving the laser wherever the heat is going up on it. We're now in the green area. I can throttle back. Often, anytime I find that you hit the green area, you can immediately drop the throttle. It will stay in the green area. And we're just gonna, again, teeter at the bottom of that green zone. The laser's turned itself off. I only clicked once to turn the laser on. Now we are dealing with our first fracture complete and what the results are. So we're looking for the Laranite in this rock. It's what's making us money right now in Star Citizen. We found our first piece, 1763 kilograms, 48.52% Laranite. The rock is now smaller. It takes less heat to heat up. So don't go slam 100% throttle into it. You're probably going to end up in an overcharge and an explosion. See what the rock does. This one's really unstable. It's got a really small green area, even with this laser on it that we have. So I'm going to be bouncing around on it, just on how much throttle I'm giving it, and it's going to be just as volatile in the green area. And our fracture is almost complete. We're out of the green area as it's volatile. But this is the game. This is the game we're playing here. We want it still at the bottom. And here comes our fracture. The rocks didn't really separate that much. That's okay. We're gonna see that everything now is extractable. So we're gonna right click to go to our extracting beam. It's purple. Another association you can use that what you are going to extract is ready is that it has a purple ring around it. The laser is purple, the rock is purple, it's ready to extract. So we're gonna just hover. We're not gonna start with the extracting beam on. We want to see what we're looking at. We do not want to pick up any inert if possible. Right now the mole does not have its filtration systems turned on. So I tell my crew to grab anything that is 20% or higher. You can do what you like with your crew. We're at 94.05% for this chunk of Laranite, 289 kilograms. We're gonna pull that into the ship. Again, single left click. And that little chunk there filled 7.23% of the mole. We're gonna hover around more pieces here because there should be at least maybe one more. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't do the math as I go. That's something you could do as well. Calculate the mass in it and then count out what you have as you go. So here's a 100% pure piece. These are probably only 2 pieces in it. So I shouldn't say pure. It's 100% ratio in that rock. There is no purity in the game, only ratio. So we're gonna hover over the rest of the rocks. There should be more. I'm thinking there's more. Some of the things that I should also give you as tips here is I'm just going to break down this rock. So this is just removing a rock that isn't needed. We could add a little bit of extra energy to it, or we could just move a little bit, just get into the green zone and it will poof on us. So other tips I have are mine on Yella. I really like Yella. I find it really consistent. You can definitely get some nice rocks on other planets. I find they're sparse. What I like about Yella, and you've seen it in this demo, is they break up a lot. The rocks break up in 3, 4, 5, maybe sometimes 6 pieces. Where on, say, Selene, the rocks are mostly Laranite, which pay more, but when they split in like 2 or 3 pieces. So you're grabbing a lot of inert. And again, we don't have our filtration systems yet, so it's not profitable to mine on Selin, for example. Here's another piece of Laranite we almost missed. And I put my laser on for a second. This is why we do not raise our throttle right away. 0.1 will not destroy a rock, but if you go up on these smaller rocks, it will destroy it quick. And the other reason I like Yella is navigating. Some people suggest setting a quantum point to navigate to using your star map. I find that in an emergency, to try and find that, if you're getting attacked by pirates, you got to look for that quantum point specifically, whereas if I don't have a point set, I can just look up in the sky, grab whatever's closest, and go. So what I do is I use the rings of Yella. So when I'm on the south side of Yella, when you first approach from PO, so I'm calling the south, on the south side of the rings. When you're on the south side of the planet, keep the rings swiping to the right, and that way you're moving with the sun, and then vice versa if you're on the north side. That way you're getting the most daylight out of Yella. It has a lot of spin to it. I think that pretty much is it for the demo. I'm sure there's some other tips and tricks I can teach you if you catch me in the Twitch stream. I'm not all catching them right now. But that's pretty much mining. You can make a lot of money in it. You'll make a lot more in a prospector. But if you have a chance to get in a multi-crew situation and get on the mole, I highly recommend you do it. It is super fun to just sit there and either you're just flying and you're chatting with your team, working together, or you know, any role you can pick in the mole once they open up. Anyways, I hope to see you in the verse, and if you have any questions, please pop in my stream, and I'll see you in the verse.